welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing some hip flexor strengthening and core strengthening that's going to be needed for every other movement we do on this channel. So go ahead and check out the video for the pelvic breaths and tilts somewhere over here before you do this one, and then join me on your mat. All you're going to need for this is your body. So we're going to go ahead and get down to the mat. Come lay on your back with me. And when we get onto the floor, soles of the feet are going to come to the ground, and I want you to start to find spinal alignment with the floor. So the back of your head, upper back, mid back, and low back, we're going to tuck, just like we learned in that last video. You're going to find that flat low back to the mat, so there's no space between you and your mat or the ground here. From there, we're going to keep all of our points of contact, and we're going to start with some hip flexor marches. So you're going to think about lifting your leg right in towards your body, bringing your knee into the chest. And what I want to see as we're doing this is that nothing else moves. I am just flexing at my hip, that no other part of my body is moving. Hands can be on your hips or by your side. And you're going to find what feels best here and move nice and slow. If you want to think about adding some breath in here, we're going to think about inhale to lift that leg up, exhale to set that foot down. We're going to move nice and slow with these, and I want you to do somewhere between 12 to 20 reps, a place where you can do 2 to 3 sets of this with 30 to 90 seconds in between fairly easily before you move to the next level. All right, so next level with this one, same thing, find your spinal alignment with the floor, and then we're going to start to raise the legs at the knees. You're going to notice that low back might be trying to lift just doing this movement, so you're thinking about finding that flat low back to the mat before we begin. Inhale to prepare, hands can be by your side. Exhale, think about tightening the core as your toes tap towards the ground. So inhale to top, exhale to come down. And the only thing I don't want to see here is your legs coming up in different directions. You'll see them come off in different angles towards your hips. We're thinking about a straight line with your hip bone in your body. And then I don't want you to hold your breath. I want you to continue to do these with the breath as you can, if you can, but do not hold your breath. And again, same with that other one. We should be able to do 12 to 20 reps, 2 to 4 sets here, with a break in between fairly easily before you move to the next level. All right, next level, same thing, spinal alignment with the ground. And then from there, those legs are gonna raise again. From here, you're gonna start to send one of your legs out as your arm reaches overhead. So as I'm sending my legs out, the first thing you're going to notice your body wants to do is you're going to start to make an arch between you and the mat. So you're going to think about lifting your drawbridge, as one of my clients says, which basically means tucking that pelvis as your legs go out. So in order to fight that movement of our lower part of our spine, what we're not trying to create here, we're trying to block the movement. That's the role our core is playing here, stopping the movement of our spine as we move our hips. You're going to think about sending your leg out as you tuck your pelvis, as you reach your arm overhead. So again, that tuck of the pelvis looks like this. This one's an arch, this one's a tuck, and as that leg goes out, we're finding that little bit of a tuck. Your heels do not need to touch the ground here, but as your hip flexors start to get nice and long and you start to get more extension, you will be able to. And again, same with the other ones. We're doing somewhere between 12 to 20 reps of those, breathing as we're doing it, 2 to 4 sets, easily before moving on to the next level here. This is going to be the next progression as I'm working through some of these movements. These are dead bugs. This one is definitely a little bit more advanced. So you're going to find the back of your head, upper back, mid back, and low back on the ground. We're going to raise the arms, raise the legs. Now I'm going to have you start to begin to lift your head. So we're adding a little bit of neck here. If at any point this feels uncomfortable, you can always set it back down. But working to get the head is also something that's going to engage parts of our core as well, because it's a part of your spine. And it's going to build some neck strength, which is good for all of us. So we're here, and we're going to start doing that same dead bug position we've been doing. So legs are going to go out both at a time now, and arms are going to sweep up overhead. And again, we're keeping that flat low back to the ground. So as I go out, I'm not letting my hips drop, pelvis arch. As my leg goes out, I am bringing everything out with it, keeping pelvis tucked. So thinking about raising the drawbridge as that goes back. And once again, if the head is too much here, you can always set it down. These are definitely a bit harder. And again, move with your breath here. We should be able to breathe. And if you want to think about anything, you can think about inhale to prepare, Exhale, pull that belly button up and in as you send those legs out long. These are great before handstands. Here's another variation of that dead bug that really lights up that lower portion of the core. So we're going to find that spinal alignment with the floor, back of the head, upper back, mid back, and low back, and then we're going to raise the legs. From here, you are going to think about tapping both of the feet down at a time. So toes are going to travel, or even heels here if you want a little bit more, towards the top of the mat. And then as the legs goes out, you're finding that tuck of the pelvis. So we can go heels, we can go toes. But you're going to start to feel this one a lot more through that lower portion of the core. And again, this is another one of those we want to be able to do 12 to 20 reps. And you can also start to move the hands with that as well, keeping the head up, or you can keep the head down. All these variations, the one thing we want to look out for is that when we do these movements, you might notice some coning happen with the core. And ideally, we should, if you do see coning, super normal. It's our TVA not being as active or not being used to activating. So if you see a coning doing sensation, which is really common post-pregnancy or in those who haven't trained in a while, I want you to go ahead and start with my lowest level here and work to a point where that one is comfortable and you don't notice coning with that before you move to the next level here. So that's the only thing I want you to look out for. And again, with coning, if it's nice and soft when you touch it, it's totally normal and not something to be worried about, but it does mean that we're not able to activate as well as we'd like, and maybe not hold the correct intra-abdominal pressure in order to do some of the more advanced movements. So just go ahead and start with that level 1, and I promise that we'll start to get better doing these over time. Awesome. Thanks for watching and moving with me today. These are some of the most fundamental core and pelvic and hip flexor movements you can do as a part of your movement routine to keep your body feeling and moving its best. Subscribe for more.